Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate.
Good evening, Instagram.
Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between. It's 7:30. It's Tuesday night.
It's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate.
Pay attention.
I will. You.
Let's get Jamie in.
Jamie. Hello.
I'm always around, George. Don't you worry. Wherever you are, so am I.
Was lingering in the background.
Oh, that sounds really bad.
I guess I'll just hover there.
If you could help, Rich.
Be good, wouldn't it? George,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
This.
Hovering.
Yeah. Basically.
You been to school?
Yeah.
What you done?
We're practicing for a show. At some point next month, so we're practicing for that. And then in the morning, I did maths and English and reading.
Oh, good. What show is it?
Summer vacation, so because we're in the summer term.
Is that the one with Cliff Richard in?
That's summer holiday.
Summer vacation.
What do you do in summer vacation?
Well, some people go on holiday, and it's hard to explain. Dad, you know.
Is it like an episode of Paddington?
No.
There's lots
So why do they? Can I ask a question?
Dad,
Why are they using the
Dad,
American word and
You
not the
will
English
find
word?
out when you come and watch
I will
it.
find out. Yeah, why are they saying vacation? It's an American word.
I don't know because it's American. I don't know.
Maybe the person that wrote it was American.
Maybe. And I'm just doing it, but in English.
Oh wow! So you had a good day then?
And
Must be good rehearsing for a show.
It's nearly the summer holidays too.
How long we got till summer holidays?
3 weeks.
No
So this week.
way.
Yeah.
I'm just a floating head.
Wow, that's gone so quick again, isn't it?
Or I've grown another head.
I'm a floating head.
Right, you're going to do your gardening fact trouble.
Oh, don't call me trouble.
You are trouble.
I'm not. Oh, stop being rude.
Let me throw this before the dog barks at you again.
Butterflies are attracted to weeds like thistles, clover, dandelions because they have more nectar there from there,
And
there more of them available.
Are they like nectar because they've got their
long tongues.
Also, that's
what's
the interesting fact, but Georges are not attracted to butterflies.
Georges don't like butterflies.
that?
George runs away scared of a butterfly.
I used to be scared of butterflies when I was a boy.
In polytunnel right now, and
I used to.
Jamie used to be afraid.
Are you scared? Are you listening, George?
Butterflies.
I used to be scared of butterflies and moths and anything like that.
Jamie, last week,
Not anymore.
this is a funny story. I was walking in to get my lunch, and a moth was on my neck. I was walking in, and the moth was there.
Yeah.
You didn't even know.
I didn't even know. So.
And did it hurt you?
No, it didn't hurt. It was just crawling up.
Exactly.
So one of the speeches had to come and flick it.
They're more scared of you than you're scared of them, George.
Yeah.
He obviously thought you tasted nice, though.
Do you know something else? What happened?
What?
A blackbird flew at my head the other day.
Did it?
Nearly flew into his face.
It did. It went like this.
Wow.
It went like that.
Close call.
I was literally like, whoa, and then hit my head
George.
and it went.
What is a butterfly's tongue called?
A what now?
The butterfly's tongue.
I don't know.
Proboscis.
My mum's just commented.
Preposterous.
Preposterous. It is preposterous. It's so long.
He doesn't like anything flappy, but he's the most flappy thing around.
Rude.
Rude, Mum. You're rude.
But yeah, a bit flappy.
Mum, why don't you come down and be on through the garden gate, huh?
It'd be a very rare day if Mummy appeared on through the garden gate. I don't think she's ever
Well,
appeared on.
she has.
Other than a voice.
No, she has. And after swimming, and I couldn't make it. I was late, and yeah, she was on it then.
I've seen her lurking outside the polytunnel a few times in the dark.
Right. Off you go. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you, George.
Night.
Have a good week.
So I
You been
feel
doing
like we need a new feature on Through the Garden Gate because Don has started something by sending us a random picture of a garden gate.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to get people to send us pictures of their garden gates or any garden gates that they see that are interesting.
I think that would be good. A good little thing.
We can post it on our stories.
Yeah, we will. Let's do that. So any gates, whether it be
Most
posh,
peculiar, the better.
posh, peculiar, or normal, just send us pictures of the gates. Yeah, we'll post them. Have you been doing some gardening at work or what?
Yeah, gardening. Looking at the garden going, it's all going to die because I've got no water left.
I did see you. Well, I didn't see you live. I saw it afterwards this morning. So you get your water from the stream like I do.
Yep. But I'm only allowed to take the water to a certain level. I can't run the stream dry. So once it gets below a certain level,
Yeah.
I'm done.
It didn't look like it was flowing much anyway.
No, well, we're right on a T, and the one coming from that direction is nearly empty now. Because I think that's just like a field drain, but then the main one that flows the whole length of the end of the garden is like a tributary to a river. So the river is obviously low. I need to go and have a look because there's the river that's nearby has got a weir in it. So you know the river level's low when the weir goes quiet.
Yeah.
It's probably at that level now.
How has the lake in the garden gone down?
Yeah, I've had to turn off the waterfall pump today because it's getting too low and I don't want the waterfall pump to get damaged.
No, don't burn that out.
So there's on the boathouse, there's like brick pillars that hold the boathouse up, and usually you can see three bricks. So now at the moment you can see 8 bricks.
Oh wow!
So 5 bricks is probably what, 3 foot,
5 bricks is about half a metre.
which is a hell of a lot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
That's how low the lake's got.
Where does that lake fill from then?
From the
That
stream.
stream.
Again, yeah, I've got a pump that I can turn on to bring the water in.
Yeah.
But because it's been so low, the chamber where the pump is has got 2 pumps. So it's got the lake fill pump and the irrigation pump. But if you had both on at the same time, with a slow flow rate from the stream, you're going to drain it too quickly. So I've had to prioritise trying to keep the garden watered over filling the lake up.
Yeah. How deep is the lake? It's all right for a bit yet, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean the lake is like mega deep in the middle.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's low, and if we carry on the way we're going, it's going to be even lower.
Mm.
So I mean, even though we've had rain today, it's not been anything significant. It's been bloody windy all day.
We ain't had any rain.
Any rain that you've had's just got blown away.
It's got dried up by the wind straight away.
Yeah, dried up. It doesn't even get into the soil. Literally on the top layer, and then the wind dries it off again. So it's not even got down.
No.
We need a really heavy downpour. I mean, we were promised storms over the weekend, but we didn't get anything.
No, nothing. Looks like it's going to be dry the rest of the week. Anyway, what it says here.
Yeah. I think Thursday was originally wet, but now it's not wet at all.
No.
So yeah.
Did you see my elephant garlic?
No.
I
Have you
must admit, I only posted it a couple of hours ago. So, did you see my one a couple of weeks ago when I posted about the elephant garlic all growing up together?
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I sowed my elephant garlic cloves like normal.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't harvest them last year. I left them all in, and I don't know why. But then a couple of months ago, I noticed they were coming back up again, and I realised they were the elephant garlic. But every clove last year grew into a bulb.
Yeah.
So every bulb has now grown into a new bulb.
Looks like
And I noticed it a few weeks ago, and it was like about 6 or 7 plants coming up in a
yeah.
circle. And I thought, that's my elephant garlic. And I pulled them all the other day, and it is. Every single one has grown into a bulb. So you could plant a bulb of garlic, and it will grow 6 or 7 bulbs, and they'll shoot up.
You don't even need to divide it.
Don't need to split them.
You can just chuck them straight in.
It works really, really well.
That's funny. We pulled up the garlic at work on Monday, yesterday. Yeah. And the garlic's brilliant.
Yeah.
The onions, not so much. So many of the onions have bolted. I've never known
Dry,
anything like
isn't it?
it. It's
Dry.
bizarre because the veg garden at work is irrigated, so it gets 5 minutes of full-on spraying every morning at 8 o'clock. So it's had, it's consistent.
Yeah.
But I think it must just be the temperatures.
Too hot. A lot of people think onions and leeks and things, they need hot temperatures, but they don't like it. They like nice and moist and not too hot.
Interestingly, though, I had so many because Chris gave me his when he moved to Guernsey. I put like 50 of each white, red, and shallots in the polytunnel at work, and none of those ones bolted, although they didn't grow as big as the ones in the veg garden, but they didn't bolt. So if it's a heat thing, it didn't. You'd think ones in the polytunnel would have done.
That makes sense, does it?
No, so it must be dry. It must be, it must be dryness, which I still can't get my head around. Or maybe it's rain. There's something special in the rain.
I don't know. I ain't had any rain, and my onions have been really well. I've just watered mine. I've watered really well though, constantly all the way through, because I know they love lots of water.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously next year I need to put it on more.
Mm.
What
have you got? A sprinkler have you? Not a soaker hose or anything?
No, they're all sprinklers. Each bed's got its own little sprinkler system, so it comes on for 5 minutes in the morning before it gets really warm. But I can set it to do whatever. It can come on at 3 o'clock in the morning, and so maybe it'd be better to do it 8 o'clock in the evening, and then it'll got all evening to soak in rather than first thing in the morning. Might try something different next year.
There's been loads of chats about that recently, isn't there? About when to water. Then I think a lot of it's just a load of old crap. Just water. If you need to water, just water it.
Well, at the end of the day, if your schedule allows you to do it at night, do it at night. If your schedule allows you to do it in the morning, do it in the morning. Like, you can say if you do it in the morning, it stops the slugs because the slugs haven't got all evening with nice, wet, moist, which I guess to a degree would work. But, the slugs are buggers anyway. They'd come out during the day if they had to.
Of course they will, if they have to. The only reason, it's good to water early or late is to stop evaporation. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. If you're going to be watering, do it, early or late to try and avoid as much evaporation. Because if you're watering in the middle of the day when the sun's at fullest,
you're losing half your water. But it's not going to hurt the plants. It doesn't hurt the plants. That's a load of rubbish.
Well, you can scorch leaves if it's in direct sunlight on certain plants.
A certain few, but I always think It's not a single farmer that sits and turns his irrigation systems off at
No.
10 o'clock in the morning and turns them back on at 9. No way.
That annoys me that they have them going during the day.
But we was just down our horse field, the other horse field, and the potato fields are so big, it's still been going 24 hours. They're so big, they can't just do it at night time
No.
because there's just
Yeah, I guess they
not
are
enough
going.
time.
Yeah.
And that comes out like that, you know.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
is
homes are like this,
absolutely,
aren't they?
it's massive, absolutely massive. So you know, once that's hitting the ground, that's making a puddle instantly. So there's plenty of water there. Yeah. If you've got half an hour in the middle of the day and that's the only time you can water,
Yeah,
give them some water.
it's better than nothing. Like,
Of course it is.
some water's better than none.
Definitely.
You just need to prioritise with what you're watering.
Yeah.
The best way is drip line, because if you're doing drip line, you can have it on for 6 or 7 hours, and it's getting directly into the root zone.
Yeah.
You know, whereas if you're spraying it with a hose, most of that water's getting wasted.
Yeah. Whenever I use a hose pipe every day, but I never have it on any sprinkler or anything. I just have the end off. Have the end off and shoot it straight to the roots, and that's it. Give that
Never
one
ever sprinkle
4 or 5 seconds. 4 or 5 seconds on that one. 4 or 5 seconds on that one. 4 or 5 seconds on that one.
Yeah.
Best you can do. Right.
That's all you can do. And
Who we got tonight?
So tonight's guest is a YouTuber, a TikToker, and an Instagrammer. He is a multiple gold medalist at Chelsea Flower Show, as well as winning the prestigious People's Choice Award not once, not twice, but 3 times. He has appeared on TV, radio, and various magazines, and he has been gardening since the age of 5. Let's get him in. It's Adam Woolcott, not Woolpot.
Not Woolpot.
Please sing the...
He was there because I just said he said we don't want hail there.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that hail.
Yeah.
Should come in. Just accepted a request. Oh, it's disappeared again.
Oh no! Technical problems.
To be fair, he
done
did
those
say he's not the
things.
most technical people, so he might have kicked himself out by accident.
He should be. He does enough social media.
Yeah, but he's never done it. He's never done an Instagram live.
Oh, that's the first.
You come back.
I was just about to have a look, but I'm not going to touch anything on my screen at all.
Let's try again. Should have a notification, Adam. Press accept. There we go.
Am I here? Hello.
Yay!
Hey, we got there.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I need to just turn this up a bit because, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm not Mr. Super Technical.
Well, you see, I thought you'd have been the other way because I see you on every single channel there possibly is.
Well, I've never done a podcast before, so yeah. So yeah, but no, good to see you both, and yeah, thanks for inviting me on. I've got my little tree fern in the background, and it's a bit super windy, but hopefully you can hear me all right.
Yes,
It's been really windy, isn't it?
Yeah. I heard you talking about how dry it's been lately and things going to seed and all that kind of stuff with the onions and one thing and another.
I was just about to say, what's your take on all this water and lark?
Yeah, I just need to see if I can get some extra volume here because I can't. There we go. I can hear you now. That's better. Yeah, that's good. Well, it's weird you should say that because behind me I've got a raised bed in my garden full of hostas. And the other evening it was about kind of 9:30, and I kind of thought, shall I water the hostas? And so far, because it's been dry, I've not had much slug and snail damage, which is good.
That's one good thing.
But then I thought if I kind of really give them a good drench at about 9, half 9 at night, like you were saying a moment ago, that's going to create that beautiful kind of wet, humid kind of atmosphere. And then I thought the little blighters are probably all going to come out en masse and, just completely feast on my hostas all night. So I didn't water them. I kind of let it be. But it is strange times these days. I mean, where I'm in Norfolk, I mean, it is year on year, it's definitely getting drier and drier and drier. And plants are reacting very strangely in a lot of different ways.
Definitely. And I only found out today when I was doing a little research from you about you. I'm in Norfolk as well, just down the road.
Oh, cool.
You're in the Brecks, isn't
Yeah,
you?
I mean,
Swaffham.
Swaffham.
I'm in Gayton.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, because,
Hello.
yeah. Yeah, I go past you quite often because I do some shopping telly for a company called U Garden, and I go past sort of Gayton and plus on the way up to Gedney Hill in Lincolnshire.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you're literally kind of almost a stone's throw from me, really.
Not far,
No,
is it? Not far at all.
no,
Yeah,
but it.
I was having a bit of read and I went, Norfolk? The Brecks? What? That's about 10 miles away.
But I mean, it was weird this year because the farmers were irrigating. Well, some of them kind of from April, even May, they were
Mm,
already starting to irrigate. Which I know we've got this very sandy soil in this part of the world, and it doesn't kind of hold the moisture. But even so, I mean, the sort of the earliest or the early net of the irrigating is a bit alarming these days, to be honest.
yeah.
Um,
I've noticed the potatoes are getting loads and loads. So be aware for potatoes and chips, the price to be going up this year.
The more water going on, the more they pay off.
Oh, it costs a fortune. Teresa, my wife, is a farm. She does lots of farm accounts, and she said the cost of irrigating is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of gets to a point eventually where is it kind of viable to irrigate certain crops? Because obviously the cost of paying for the irrigation versus what you're going to make on the crop, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Really, to
Yeah,
be honest.
but I think a lot of it is if they don't, they won't reach certain size, and the supermarkets and people at McDonald's won't want them. So
Yeah,
you're better
but
off breaking even, I suppose, than rather than throwing them all back in the ground.
yeah, but I mean, but what you said earlier about things sort of going to seed, I definitely think that's a kind of combination of dry weather, exceptional heat, and things like that. So I think a lot of vegetables are kind of thinking, oh, the pressure's on. I need to kind of produce the next generation of seeds and
Definitely.
and and do that rather than concentrate on producing sort of fruit or vegetables. So and
Mm,
I think I mean obviously things like beetroot and stuff tend to be quite sort of prone towards sort of bolting as well if they dry out and
definitely.
various sort of plants like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole new world at the moment. It's kind of it's nice having a lovely summer. It's nice having blue skies. It's nice having nice temperatures.
Mm.
But yeah, the dryness element is starting to get a little bit scary, to be honest.
I think
I mean, it's been
if
dry since March, hasn't it? Like, I can't
Mm,
remember a decent amount of rain since March.
definitely not.
yeah. And as you were saying, I think it was last weekend that they were forecasting these storms coming up across Norfolk. Well, we kind of got like a little bit of heavy rain, but
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, but basically, I went to bed. My water butt was half empty. I got up in the morning, and it was still pretty much half empty. So it wasn't like we had enough rain to even kind of fill the water butt up. So I
No.
was kind of um, and then obviously they were talking about hail, and I'm thinking, no, no hail this time of year. All your,
No.
you look at all your hostas, you look at all your
Oh,
beautiful vegetation,
I'll
and
shred it
I know they
instantly.
do, yeah.
Flat.
Mm.
I mean, at one point they were talking about possibly 2 centimetre diameter hail, and I'm thinking,
Oh,
no,
Oh my god.
that's just annihilation for your plants this time of
definitely.
year.
Mm. But the only reason why we're moaning about it is because we're gardeners. If we
Well,
weren't gardeners, we'd be absolutely loving it.
yeah, yeah. I guess if you're an ice cream man, or you're running that, or if you're running a holiday camp, or something like that, it's like ka-ching.
Yeah, yeah.
But of course, if you're a grower, or a farmer, or a horticulturalist, then it's yeah, you're very acutely aware that we are definitely
Mm,
becoming drier,
yeah.
pretty much. I think year on year, and I even notice that at work sometimes when, even at times of year when you dig a hole in the garden and you expect the soil to be wet low down.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm even finding these days sometimes you dig quite a deep hole in February or March, and you're hitting dryish
yeah,
soil, which that time of year you expect the hole to be filling up with water as you dig it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. What do we do? What do we do? What's the answer? I don't know.
The thing I worry about is the fact
Right.
that at some point we're going to get an absolute bucket load of rain and it's going to not stop, and then we're going to get the opposite problem of flooding, which I experienced 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always that. There was a little saying. I remember reading some books when I was a kid, and there was a saying in one book, and it said, "Be it dry, be it wet, nature always repays a debt." And
Mm.
that's the trouble. You know, we get, and that's. I mean, last year the spring was awful. I mean,
Oh,
it was wet, 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 wet,
Yeah.
wet, wet, and of course this year it's gone completely the opposite way.
really has. Really has. Oh well, let's play. We don't want to. What we need is about 20 degrees in the daytime and about 20 mil at night time every other day.
That'd be
Perfect.
good. Do, do,
The
do we
request
try
that
do we try cloud seeding, or is that kind of a road to ruin and disaster?
Oh, is that where they send the aeroplanes through the clouds?
Yeah, well, I think they tried that somewhere in China once, and actually, it rained so much it caused catastrophic floods. So they actually kind of got more rain than they wanted. So yeah,
Another Chinese experiment that goes wrong.
yeah,
Oh
yeah. I think sometimes toying with nature's probably best, best left
yeah,
alone. To be honest.
yeah. Leave her to it. She'll sort herself out.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
doing enough damage as it is with everything else we're doing.
Well,
Mhm,
yeah,
yeah.
you're not wrong.
Well,
Sadly,
that's why we're in this predicament. Why we're getting all these hot temperatures, isn't it? Because we've wrecked it over the last however many years, 50, 60, 70 years.
yeah.
Terrible.
And as you say, I remember when I used to live in Bishop Stortford years ago, we hit like I think it was 100 degrees centigrade. I think it was 1 August, and then I thought that was remarkable. And then of course, 2022, I think in Cambridge we hit they hit 42.1 or something. So yeah, what's the next one going to be? What's the
That's hot.
next sort of record temperature going to be? We just we just don't know. But I think I think as gardeners we're always really resilient, and I think we love a challenge, and I think there's always ways to think of growing new plants, new crops, kind of adapting, sort of future proofing, planning for the future. There's lots of sort of things we can do, and I think we just have to perhaps sort of dump some of the sort of plants we've grown for a long time, and just have to realise we can't grow them anymore.
Yeah,
Without giving them gallons and gallons of water. So I think certain things it's like, sorry, can't grow you anymore. We need to think more kind of Mediterranean plants, drought resistant plants, plants with fleshy foliage, succulent plants, silver leafed plants, hairy leaved plants,
mm,
all the kind of plants that have got really good drought sort of adaptation to them, really.
yeah. So as Mark said on his fantastic intro for you, we are in Chelsea Gold royalty territory. As a garden designer, then have your ways of thinking changed?
Um, Yeah, well, I mean, basically, I've been gardening since the age of 5. I started gardening when I was 5. So, I tell the story all the time because I do shopping telly and talks and various different things. But I mean, my earliest memory, my dad built me a wooden box when I was 5 years of age, filled it with soil. My mum bought me some freezer bulbs, and they flowered, they grew. That got me into gardening. I've been gardening professionally for kind of 40 years, and sort of designing gardens, garden maintenance, all those kind of things. And I'll be honest with you, probably not till too long ago, I kind of didn't really think differently. But in the last couple of 2 or 3 years, there's certainly a lot of plants now that I'm thinking, no, I can't plant them. I'm not going to plant them. But not even just from a sort of a drought perspective, just from I mean, not to kind of sound miserable and depressing. But even from a kind of disease and pest kind of perspective,
Hmm.
and for instance, now, myself and John, my husband, who we kind of run the garden design business with, I mean, we don't plant box hedging anymore because of the box caterpillar,
Mm.
because almost every customer we've ever had with box, they're kind of being annihilated. So we avoid those now. And then, other certain plants, we thought, well, we could put them in for you, but, you're going to take a bit of a risk because there's certain pests now that are going to make a beeline for them. So, yeah, definitely with the kind of drier weather and all these weird things like vine weevils and lily beetle and Berberis sawfly and all these pests and things we never got like 15, 20 years ago. Now we're having to kind of double think whether we ought to put those plants in,
Mm.
because really we're just planting a food crop for these pests to kind of feast on. So perhaps whereas before we would suggest box hedging, now we suggest something like Ilex crenata or yew
Mm.
or something like that, which so far hasn't got any kind of pests and diseases and problems.
Yeah.
So much wood.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, literally touch wood.
Yeah, definitely.
So what you gentlemen find? I mean, what issues are you coming up against? I mean, what's in your kind of careers and what you do, sort of horticulturally and professionally? What's kind of
well,
causing you worries or
well,
aggravation
Mark,
or?
you're a professional gardener, so you're probably best to talk about
Yeah, I mean the main things at the moment is the dryness. I mean, luckily in Lincolnshire we don't seem to have anything that's going, majorly crazy in the garden where I work. It's only been planted. It was a brand new garden 15 years ago, so I do wonder whether a lot of sort of pests and stuff like that haven't found the garden yet, because there's not anything that I'm pulling my hair out at. We've had a little bit of box blight, but not a massive amount. I've seemed to have kept on top of it by cutting
Yeah,
it less. The box caterpillar hasn't turned up yet, so
good.
touch wood again. Fingers crossed that's nothing. But yeah, nothing majorly that's causing me too many problems other than the dryness.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, the dryness, as you say, is kind of an oncoming thing. But it's weird because I work at sort of Gedney Hill for a company called U Garden in Lincolnshire, and it's weird because I can remember the winter before last, driving up to Gedney Hill, that all the fields were like
Yeah,
lakes. I mean, they had this
that.
silver kind of shimmer to them, and then come the spring, some of the fields were 50 to 75% empty because obviously the crop had rotted off,
Mm.
where it sort of laid waterlogged all that time. And then this year, it's been the opposite. It's kind of been the other way. It's been sort of bone dry and no kind of big floods. But I noticed kind of more and more farmers are building their own reservoirs and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. That's
for the
definitely
farm.
something they're kind of investing in.
Seems sensible, really.
Yeah. There's one near us in East Winch, another one of Teresa's clients, and he had one built 3 or 4 years ago, and I've never seen nothing like it in my life. I went to it, and there was a big 360 digger sitting in the bottom of it, and you could hardly see it. Honestly, it was so big, unbelievable. I don't know what the numbers were, but it is absolutely massive. But then because he lets a lot of his
Yeah,
farmland out, but
yeah,
he charges for the irrigation, so he's loving it.
yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean,
Mm.
he's kind of got the kind of the oil equivalent of water, isn't he? Really? I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind of becoming the
definitely.
next kind of it's going to be the next kind of commodity that everybody's going to want to kind of
Mm.
pay for and sort of want to use.
Yeah,
The
But
water
definitely.
but yeah, it's I always, as I said, I think as gardeners, you sort of you can always think about new things, new plants, new ideas, new planting schemes. There's always kind of ways to move forward. And although there are kind of are worrying things and unusual things, I think there's always sort of new sort of new opportunities. But then you do kind of get that weird thing where sometimes people say, oh, we're getting all these milder winters, so we can grow olive trees, we can grow oleanders, we can grow sort of like palms that aren't normally kind of super hardy, and
Mm.
and you kind of get away with that for about 8 or 9 winters,
Yeah.
and then
Then you get
suddenly
east from the east.
that's it, yeah.
Yeah, we have a good one.
Yeah, and then boom, all those poor plants that have kind of survived for 8 or 9 years, in one winter, bang, they're all like wiped out. And then, so that's the dilemma we've had recently, because what we've tried to do when we do planting schemes is we're trying to think of a lot of plants that are very drought tolerant, put up with lots of sunshine, high UV, all that kind of thing. But quite often, those sort of plants can be a bit winter tender. So
Yeah.
you always having that kind of dilemma whereby, oh yeah, we can put those plants in, but then as you say, if you suddenly get a couple of weeks and you get that extreme weather, and all of a sudden at night you're getting -11s, -12s for a good sort of 5 6 hours in the middle of the night,
Mm.
then you've lost all those plants. So it's a difficult one to call sometimes, to be honest.
It was only probably 2 or 3, not maybe 3 winters ago that we were having -15 for days, let alone
Mm.
hours,
Yeah,
and that just wiped everything out.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I can remember sort of back in the 80s, sometimes we'd have daytime temperatures of only -1, -2 during the day,
Mm.
and never mind at night. And where I was, I was brought up in a place called Harlow in Essex, and there was a river that used to run through there called the River Stort. And my brother and I used to regularly skate on the River Stort,
Wow.
and walk across the River Stort. Well, my nephews, who've been brought up in the same town, they've never once been able to skate on the River Stort.
No.
Never
They've
seen
never.
it frozen.
No, I mean, or just a little wispy kind of thin layer, up till about 11, 12 in the morning. But but we used to skate on it regular all the time. But they've never done it in their life.
It just shows in them 40 years,
Mm.
the temperature has risen that much. It's crazy.
And have you noticed as well, things are flowering so much earlier as well? I
Mm.
mean, some things seem to be flowering about a month. I mean, I've got gaillardias and things like that flowering. Well, it's weird because we've got some gaillardias and various other plants like that in the garden that we actually brought back from a Chelsea flower show garden we did when it was held in September one year because of COVID.
Yeah.
And some of those plants are flowering now at the end of June, but we bought them then because they were flowering in September
Yeah.
for
Wow.
Chelsea. But they're flowering almost. Well, I've got hibiscus syriacus. I mean, normally I say to people, great thing about those shrubs, they're a lovely late summer into early autumn
Mm.
flowering shrub, but they're starting to flower now. And it's like, whoa, that's mad. That's not right.
2 months
You-
early, isn't it?
yeah, you're flowering way too early for the kind of the time of year.
I've just
But
looked over. I've got 2 hibiscus over there, and I've just looked over and I can see one pink flower.
no, in
Yeah,
June, that's not right.
I can see it. I can see it from here.
Yeah,
That's insane.
so
Crazy.
I mean, come August, September, well, I don't suppose they'll be flowering much then, unless they have a little second flush,
Yeah.
perhaps. But
Mm, possibly.
yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't want to use it all up before the
no,
autumn
no,
comes.
no. We want that nice sort of late summer colour, don't we? That extra
Yeah,
interest and.
definitely do.
But yeah, I
The
don't know.
spring
It's
bulbs were the same though, weren't they? The spring bulbs seemed to just like race through. They didn't. Usually you've got them quite spread out, but they all seem to come in 3 or 4 weeks.
yeah. Well, I remember driving past one garden on the way to Gedney Hill earlier this year, and at one point there was a forsythia that still just had I mean, it was really going over, but it still had a slight kind of little bit of yellow blossom on it, and there was a lilac in the same garden, and the lilac was just starting to show a little bit of colour, and I was thinking that is
They
freaky. I
shouldn't
mean,
cross over.
yeah, but and and you're seeing and sometimes these days you're seeing almost like snowdrops and daffodils and then
Yeah.
tulips almost kind of in a very
Merging.
merging. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, admittedly the snowdrops aren't looking their best, but sometimes they're still just got a little bit of colour in them. where the daffodils are coming
Mm.
out, and even some of the tulip buds are just starting to. And you think, yay, this is weird territory now. We're kind of, well, you know, what do you advise people? What do you tell people? What do you say to people?
There used to be a start stop almost, wasn't there?
Yeah, there
Daffodils,
was.
tulips,
Like
yeah.
one, next one, next
Mm.
one. I
Mm.
went to a Bluebell open weekend, and they only open one weekend in the whole year at this estate. And that weekend that they opened, the Bluebells were sort of almost going over already.
Yeah. Well, they opened the lavender Norfolk fields a week early, didn't they? Because you know, they'd sort of actually started blooming quicker than they thought. And also, my other half went to see the tulip fields,
Yeah.
not far from Gayton,
Mm.
and again, they were actually pretty much gone over on the final week. Um, Obviously, they weren't expecting that, but because it was such a warm, dry
So
spring,
warm and dry,
yeah,
yeah.
they came up earlier and they sort of went over earlier. But I mean, again, there's loads of positives. The spring blossom, I mean, the cherry trees were
Oh,
fabulous this year because there was no rain, there was no wind, and also the magnolias looked fantastic because there was no late
Yeah,
frosts
mm.
to turn all the flowers brown.
yeah.
So there's always a silver lining.
That's the thing with
Spruce
magnolias. I always think they're beautiful for about a week. So you get a decent bit of wind or a bit of decent rainfall. That's it.
gone.
Yeah, and they are messy so and so's, aren't they? Because you know, you got that half a ton of flipping petals to clear
Yeah,
up when they all drop. So yeah, I know, especially when you sort of do somebody's garden. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with photinias as well, because the photinia red robin, I kind of, that's a really really lovely evergreen shrub,
Yeah.
and you know, it's brilliant for so many situations and hedging and so on and so forth. But this time of year, when it starts shedding the old leaves, it sort of drives me mad because you turn up at
Mm.
a customer and it's like autumn in June with all these masses of flipping leaves coming off this, you know, it's like, don't do that, you're making the garden look a mess. But you know, fortunately they only do it for about 2 or 3 weeks, don't they, and then they kind of settle down. But yeah, I don't know, the perils of being a gardener.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you still do garden maintenance then?
Yeah. I still do garden maintenance. I'm doing lots of different things because I turned 60 this year. So you know what it's like when you've been gardening all your life, you kind of get the aches and pains. You know, I'm starting to get a little bit of I don't know what it is, a bit of arthritis so in the end of my finger sometimes as well. So what I'm trying to do now is find, because you know, I adore gardening. I love gardening. I'll hopefully I'll drop dead in my garden. That's what I'm hoping for. You know, because
Perfect.
if that's the way I'm going to go, that's where I'd like to go. But yeah, what I'm trying to do as I get older is trying to find ways of still earning a living and paying off the last of the mortgage, but doing it using my kind of experience, my knowledge, my passion,
Hmm.
rather than physically going out and doing actual gardening. But you still do a lot of actual physical gardening. But now I'm doing a kind of a lot of shopping telly, things like blogs, vlogs, sort of doing demos and things for different companies. So that kind of thing, really. That's what I'm
Yeah.
kind of trying to aim for.
Brilliant. I have spotted you on TikTok quite a bit recently.
Yeah, I love TikTok. I'm quite proud. I'm not being big-headed, but I'm quite proud of myself on TikTok because about a year ago, you could have offered me £500,000, and I wouldn't have. I could have not, even though, well, I could have probably opened the TikTok app, and that would have been about it. But but now, yeah, I mean, I kind of, you know, I do videos on TikTok. I kind of sell plants on TikTok. So I've kind of got myself sort of au fait with it. But I need to spend more time on it. That's the trouble, because obviously with TikTok, Instagram, you've got to keep feeding it, haven't you? You've got to keep
Yeah,
creating the videos, creating the
Mm.
content. But then if you're, you know, kind of doing gardening every day, or I'm at U Garden one day, or I'm working for Handy another day, there's only so many hours in the day, isn't there?
that's the
So
problem,
you
isn't
know,
it?
yeah, you can't kind of do, you can't do everything. But it's nice to be involved with stuff. I mean, I'm really, you know, thanks very much for asking me on here. I was really chuffed and really, it's just really nice that somebody that wants to chat and, you know, talk gardening and all that kind of stuff, which is brilliant. You know, it's a lovely world to be in gardening, because near enough everybody in gardening is really friendly.
Yeah.
Gardeners tend to be very kind, very generous. very down to earth, and also generally very accepting kind of people as well. That's what I love about gardeners. They seem to have an open mind and an open attitude to the world, to nature, and to people. You know,
Yeah.
I've never really come across a nasty gardener, to be honest.
We've said that loads on here, Mark, haven't we? All the time we say that, you know, there's not many nasty gardeners that you know.
No, there's just something. And I think it might be gardening itself. It's good for the soul. It's good for the mind. It's good for the body. In fact, on the way home a few weeks ago, I was listening to an article on Radio 4, and they were talking about these experiments they've been doing, or investigations they've been doing in the United States, about people who garden regularly, not professionally, but for a
Mm.
hobby,
Yeah.
against people who don't. And they did these studies in neighbourhoods, and they found American families that garden regularly and grow their own crops and their own fruit and their own vegetables actually have healthier gut bacteria than people that don't garden. And they even found they had kind of more important chemicals in their brains than people that didn't garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the amount of things they're discovering about the benefits of gardening for physical health, mental health, even there was even talk about it kind of possibly fighting dementia or sort of kind of preventing the onset of dementia. So it's and that's why I think probably why people who do garden a lot are happy people
Definitely.
because it's good for you per se.
Mm.
It's all the
Yeah,
chemicals that are coming from the soil.
it is. There's so many studies about getting your hands in the soil and all the good chemicals and the release of the serotonin and everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know,
Yes.
if you go for a walk, I mean, well, that's the great thing about Norfolk. That's why I moved to Norfolk, because I used to live in Bishop Stortford in Hertfordshire, and it got really rat racy there, and it was that kind of place that if you didn't, you know, pull into a roundabout every 3 seconds, they're all like, wee, 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 it was all that. And if you made the slightest mistake on the road, it was like, wee, and it was all that, fingers up at you and all that kind of. I was like, whoa, I don't need this. And we come to Norfolk, there's so many forests, there's so many green spaces, there's so many fields that aren't cultivated. And, I mean, 3 or 4 minutes out of Swaffham, you can just be in the middle of the Brecks, in the middle of the Thetford Forest, and you can be feeling a bit stressed, a bit upset, a bit miserable, a bit depressed, and you just walk through that wood for 5-10 minutes, and it's like, whoa, you can just feel it coming out of you, and you see a muntjac, you hear a cuckoo, you kind of see a really unusual wildflower, and it's like, oh, this is heaven, this is therapy.
Mm.
That's what it feels like.
It
It's
is.
so
It really
free.
is. It is free, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I couldn't.
exactly.
I couldn't live in a city. I just could not do it.
No, no. Well, this weekend, myself and John, we're off to London this weekend because my nephew and his fiance have got engaged, and they're having an engagement party just in a pub near Liverpool Street, and I'm kind of looking forward to it,
Mm.
but I just don't want to go into London. I think once you live somewhere in Norfolk for so long, you don't become a hermit, but you become a bit. But you just become a bit adverse to all that noise and
Oh yeah.
traffic so yeah, I'll enjoy it, but the sooner I can get out, and I, I always love it when I come back from that part of the world and you hit that five ways roundabout, and I love it when you get over the five ways roundabout, and there's a big kind of war memorial monument
That's
on the
it.
left.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as soon as I see that, it's like, yay, I'm home. I'm back in the safe world, and
Mm.
you start to see all the beautiful fields. You see the muntjac, and well, lots of different deer, like different
Oh
species,
yeah.
and
Phenomenal.
it just
Norfolk's a great county.
it's fabulous.
Don't big up too much because people might start flooding it.
That's why I'm glad it hasn't got a motorway. Like,
Yeah.
no, don't,
Exactly.
we don't want a motorway, no,
No.
because
I
that
always
will
say you only come to Norfolk if you come into Norfolk. Nobody goes through it.
no, no, exactly,
There's no need to go through it. Not to
no,
get anyone.
but.
Definitely not.
yeah, no, it's a fabulous, fabulous county, and the people here are so friendly. I mean, the difference I noticed moving from Stortford to here, and you, well, just kind of a silly little example, really. But I remember, or, I'm a gardener. I'm not a landscaper, but sometimes customers was asked me to do a certain thing, which kind of just sort of crossed over into a bit of sort of landscaping a little bit. So I'd go off to like sort of Travis Perkins in Stortford, and I wouldn't really know what I was asking for, but I would kind of, and they were like, "Well, what do you mean? What do you want? What you after then? What is it? You tell me what it is." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't." And then I remember the first time I went to Travis Perkins in Swaffham, this lovely lady come up to me. She said, "You all right, my darling? How can I help you?" And it was like heaven, you know.
All right, yeah.
And she walked me round, and then she said, "Oh yeah, I know what you want. This is I think this is what you want." And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And then I kind of went into pay, and she said, do you do gardening? Do you do landscaping for a living?" I said, "Well, I'm a gardener, not a landscaper." She said, "Well, we'll come in and see us one day." She said, "What we'll do is we'll set you up an account." And she said, "As you're a professional," she said, we'll get you a discount. Give us a list of all the things you can order most, and then we can get you some good discounts and stuff." And I'm thinking, wow, this has never happened in Bishop Stortford.
See,
But
they want to rinse you as much as they can.
oh yeah, yeah. But here, yeah, it was really funny because I remember we went to a paint shop in Swaffham as well, and the guy was so helpful in there. In the end, we had to kind of make our excuses because it was like he was almost over helpful because it was
One
like
extreme to the other.
yeah, it's like you could have eggshell, you can have matte, you can have gloss, you can have it in this, you could have it in that. But no, it is a lovely part of the world for lovely reasons. And one really nice thing is when you drive around the countryside and you don't just see these monocrops. I mean, for instance, when I go up to Gedney Hill in Lincolnshire, there's a guy there now who's got acres and acres of gladiolus all coming up for cut flowers. And then last year, I came home a bit of a different way, and there was a huge field of peonies, which I guess was either for cut flowers or for selling, the actual plants.
Yeah.
So you get to see all these really different, unusual crops that down where I used to live, it was either wheat, barley, rape. That was about it, really. But
Yeah.
kind of this part of the world, it could be spring onions, could be carrots. Yeah, it could be sugar beet. It could be yeah, all different things.
Definitely, yeah.
Asparagus, all those kind of nice things, which is nice.
We live basically right next to a farm field, and there's been, up until last weekend, I think that field's about 35 acres of peas.
Oi.
Yeah, and I didn't nick any, I promise. And at about, this is the God's honest truth, at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday night, not just gone, the one before, we heard this horrendous noise, all these machines firing up. They were cutting all the peas in the middle of the night, and they went all the way through for 24 hours, so they were all gone.
Yeah, I think because they want to harvest them when it's hot and dry because they want to keep them, don't they? They want to
Yeah,
stop them drying out, and
yeah.
they smell nice as well. Those peas, the flowers when they're
Oh,
flowering.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was just like a sea of white flowers going across. It was
yeah.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
weird you say that because literally there's a kind of a roundabout that goes out of Swaffham to the left where I live in Swaffham, um, and they were harvesting the pine trees last year on one part, and they started that in the middle of the night, and it was like something out of a sci-fi film because we left work really early in the morning. It was winter time, and all you could see, it was like Close Encounters. All you could see in the woods was these
Lights
lights, yeah,
everywhere. Yeah.
coming through the trees, and then you see these terrifying kind of machinery where those armed things come up and they grab the trunk of the tree. Then the thing, that's it, yeah, and then they feed it
Amazing
through.
machines, aren't they?
Yeah, but honestly, going past that at like kind of 7 o'clock on a January morning when it's pitch black, and you see all that happening, it's like, yeah, it's like they're coming for us. But again, it all adds to the rich tapestry of all the different kind of things that they grow in this part of the world.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all a part
definitely.
of it.
Yeah. There were some trees down the bottom of our field there. What are they called? Oh, goodness. I can't remember what they're called now. But they had them down about 4 or 5 years ago. and we asked the people who were felling them what what they're going to use them for, and they were just going to use them for firewood. But
Yeah.
they said they were planted for matches.
Poplars then.
Bryant and May.
Okay.
Bryant and May planted them 60 years ago. Oh, what are they called? They're dead straight.
Poplars?
Oh,
Poplars.
Is it poplars?
poplars, yeah,
Yeah.
poplars. Yeah. So they were planted by Bryant and May 60 years ago, but nobody uses matches anymore, so they weren't needed.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of. I remember hearing a story ages ago about that because I don't know if it's kind of an urban myth or something, but there was I think it was that company. They were going through kind of a bit of a patch where they weren't making as much profit as kind of they wanted to, and apparently back in the day they used to have one of those sort of striking strips on both sides of the
Yeah.
matchbox. And this employee said, "Well, why don't you just put it on one side of the matchbox, and then you haven't got to pay for it to be on both sides." And apparently, they were like, he was like become sort of some sort of god in the company because it was like,
Genius.
why did nobody else think of that? Because you don't really need one on either side, do you? So he just said, put one on one side, then you can save money on not making them double sided for striking the match.
Brilliant.
But,
Someone's admiring your tree ferns by the looks of
oh,
it.
that's nice.
Yeah.
That tree fern behind me, that actually used to be in Bishop Stortford. I actually moved that
Oh,
from
did you?
because
Wow.
I couldn't leave it behind. Yeah, I loved it too much, and luckily we moved because the time we moved was March, early March, so everything was dormant. So
Yeah.
we kind of managed to move it. But if I move again, unfortunately, it'll have to stay. But
Too big now.
too big.
How long
Yeah,
have you been in Swaffham now then?
7 years, 7.5 years, and
Was it the garden that made you buy that house?
uh,
A
yeah,
lot of gardeners look at the gardens first, don't they? And they think, oh yeah.
yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, we did like the garden, and luckily, because I live on a new estate, so it's a brand new estate, and it was built by a company called Able Homes, and we were lucky enough to be able to buy an extra piece of garden behind us, that because the site hut used to be behind us, and then literally behind our fence was the parking area for all the site guys, and we asked Abel's if we could buy that, and they said yes, which we never thought
Ah,
they would,
fantastic.
and that's been brilliant because so we've been able to sort of double the size of our garden, and start growing all sorts of different things. So, but yeah, I think it was just we just wanted to move somewhere where we could still sort of commute back to Stortford for our customers, although they're all gone now because when we first moved we didn't have any customers here, so
Yeah.
we had to keep commuting backwards and forwards to Stortford. But in the time we've lived here, we've just picked up so many people in Swaffham, around Swaffham, all those places. So now we don't go to Stortford anymore. But yeah, I think it was the garden, it was the bungalow, and also where we used to live in Bishop Stortford, we was just in a little 2 up, 2 down Victorian terrace cottage, really small, and I'd kind of been there for about 32 years, and I used to see like old boys walking past. Well, they were young when I first moved there, and then and then all of a sudden it'd be where's I haven't seen Charlie recently. Oh, Charlie's gone. Where's Brian? Oh, Brian's gone. And I was like, I don't want to live in this house and be kind of one of those old boys that suddenly dies in that house. So I just thought we need a change of scene, but we could not afford where we live in Swaffham in Stortford because Stortford's so stupid expensive. So we had to kind of move to this area to get somewhere,
Yeah.
that we wanted. Yeah, but so glad we did because I say for all those sort of incredible reasons. I mean, and what I really kind of like is it's a bit kind of Schadenfreude really, but sometimes at weekends or bank holidays when I see all these cars kind of flooding out of Swaffham and they're all going back to London and all those kind of awful places, and I'm thinking, and I'm going the opposite way, and I'm thinking, I'm not visiting Norfolk, I live here.
Yeah.
It's like, and you think, wow, it's such a privilege to live in this beautiful part of the world with all its forests and coastline and wildflowers and animals, and it's definitely one of those parts of the UK that still has that sort of very unspoilt, even now, kind of sort of thing to it.
Yeah.
There's so many places are, but Norfolk, Suffolk, and certainly parts of Lincolnshire, going up into Yorkshire and stuff. I think we're, very lucky in this part of the world still to have so much beautiful habitat and nature and wildflowers and all those different things.
Yeah. Joe has just said, Joe is also another Norfolk resident. I bet you've left an amazing garden behind. I bet it was fantastic.
Yeah, we're in Stortford.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean that was a bit heartbreaking because yeah, I did. It was small, but and it was actually at one point it was on Gardener's World. Gardener's World did a little, only a 3 minute thing. They go to different people's gardens, don't they? Do a
yeah,
little
yeah.
three. But yeah, they did come and kind of they filmed my back garden, and the weird thing. The weird thing is, wherever we've lived, John, my husband's always had the front garden, and I've always had the back garden because we're different sort of gardeners. So,
All right, yeah.
and the weird thing is here, John does the front garden, the front gardens at the bungalow. I do the back because
Ah,
John likes things quite not uniform, but if John's going to plant tulips, John will like a clump of white tulips and then a clump of dark purple tulips kind of thing. Whereas I plant tulips, I'll have yellow, pink, red,
that
all,
sounds
all
like me.
jumbled up. Yeah, random kind of
Yeah.
sort of stuff, which I quite like. So, and the aspect is a bit different because the front garden where John is, it's very very sunny and gets sun pretty much all day, and it really gets baked. So John has to go for very Mediterranean, super drought tolerant kind of plants. Whereas in the back garden, I've got a north facing border, and that you can get away with a lot more kind of moist, kind of loving plants in there, which obviously don't get baked. So you've got those kind of different things. But I did bring a lot of plants. We both did brought a lot of plants from Bishop Stortford, which I'm glad I did because the people that took it over, they kind of said, "Oh no, we don't want you to take the plants. It's a beautiful garden." And there was a bit of hoo-ha about us taking them, but we'd said we were going to do that. But I'm glad I did because the people that moved in, they've just let the old garden there go to rack and ruin. It's
Oh,
it's it's
no.
yeah. So it would have been awful to kind of left everything. The only thing I couldn't move, and it's still there, thank goodness. I probably about 25 years ago, I bought a Trachycarpus fortunei palm, and it was only about 2 meters tall. And I planted that in the bottom left-hand corner of the garden. Uh, and when we went to move, it was already as tall as this tree fern behind
Wow.
me. And obviously, the roots are huge. So we couldn't dig that up. But that is there till this day because we still pop down and see our next door neighbours, who we had a brilliant relationship with. A lovely lady next door called Rosie, and then next door but another lady called Pam. So we go down and see them occasionally and stay with them. But this Trachycarpus now is flipping massive. I mean, it's huge. But I'm hoping where it is, it will never get cut
Yeah.
down because it's one of those places in Stortford where you've got those Victorian terrace cottages, sort of almost back to back with sort of opposite sort of back gardens, and then there's an alleyway that runs down the middle of them,
Right.
and this palm tree is at the end, so it's not near anybody's house. It's not encroaching on anybody. So hopefully that will live to get, you know, 20, 30 foot tall
Brilliant.
eventually. Yeah,
I bet when you go back, you sit there, you look over the fence,
I
don't you? And
do.
have it.
Yeah, but they've done nothing with it. They've just left it. But one thing it has taken over, and I never realised this. Do you know Tetrapanax papyrifera rex, the thing with the
Yeah,
great big
yeah,
leaves?
yeah.
Well, I didn't realise how invasive they were.
Yeah, they
Um,
do it all,
but
don't they?
I actually dug up one that I left in the garden store and I brought it to the garden here in Swaffham. But I don't know whether it kind of drove it insane after that. But after I removed the main plant, all over that old garden in Stortford, they came up everywhere, like an invasion. So now most of the garden is under this huge canopy of massive
It's like a jungle.
Tetrapanax. Yeah. Oh, and also I did plant bamboo at the end of the garden, and that's driven the people mad behind because they've never cut it. So although it's not kind of invaded the other gardens, it's now 15, 20 foot tall. And well,
Wow.
I used to prune it, cut it, thin it out,
Yeah.
but these people have just left it. So so the alleyway that goes between the two lots of houses, there's now like this huge corridor of bamboo that people have to kind of walk under to get through to their back gates, because
Take a
this bamboo's
machete.
just gone insane. But there you go. You know, these things happen. It's not my responsibility now. It's not my
No,
fault.
no, not at all.
But we don't plant bamboo. That's another plant we don't plant anymore. We don't plant invasive bamboos. We just stick to things like phygesias and the sort of the clump forming ones, because again, I'm finding in recent years with the milder winters, the drier weather, bamboos seem to be really one of those plants that is becoming a bit of a problem.
Stronger, isn't it? I think the
Yeah.
winters used to like knock it back a bit, whereas now they're
Oh,
just going on and
yeah.
growing all winter.
Yeah, yeah. It's, as you say, it's just especially the Phylostachys types. They just once they start running, I mean, goodness me, they come up through tarmac. They come up under paving slabs, don't they? I mean,
Wow.
they come up all over the place.
Unbelievable. I do like to see a lovely big bamboo, but not in my garden.
No, no, no. I mean, you can put the root barrier around. I'm not sure even that works. Eventually, I think they always find a way, don't they? They seem to grow over. I mean, they send those like those stolons out, and they
Yeah.
seem to go over the top,
And
and
then they're out.
yeah, and then they reroot and carry on. In fact, I saw a brilliant video on TikTok the other week. It wasn't in the UK, but it was a bamboo growing somewhere like Malaysia or somewhere, and they sort of demolished this house, and there was these huge, great big slabs of concrete. I mean, about these slabs of concrete were a couple of foot thick, deep, that had fallen down on this patch of bamboo, and as the bamboo grew up, it had this concrete block
I saw
suspended
that.
on top of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw it.
did you
What,
see
it
it?
lifted,
Yeah,
took it with it?
Yeah,
yeah.
it lifted.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
this block of concrete probably weighed a ton or a couple of ton.
It looked like a
But
wall, didn't it?
as the bamboo canes were coming up, they were lifting it up in the air. Mate, I mean, mind blowing. That's just you couldn't believe it, could you? But yeah, that wasn't going to deter that bamboo. It's like I don't care if you got 2 ton of concrete on top of me. I'm still growing.
There was a reason why they used to use it for torture
Well,
back in the Vietnam
absolutely.
War.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, you can believe it.
unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, that was one of George's facts a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, how much it grows. It was it 35 centimeters a day or something
Something
in
like
the
that.
right condition,
Something ridiculous.
which is crazy.
You could watch it grow, couldn't you? You'd
Yeah,
actually
Oh
see
yeah,
it
yeah.
move.
I think if you did like a little time lapse video on your phone, if you sort of in the
Mm.
morning before you went to work and kind of, by the time you get home in the evening, you'd probably have a TikTok video of it going like this, wouldn't you? You could
Yeah, you would.
sort of see it growing in like the course of a day.
yeah.
That'd go
With the time
viral.
on, you'd have to have the time going to show how many hours it was. Because
Yeah,
some would think it was like 3 weeks or something.
yeah.
Oh,
People don't believe how quick that can grow in sort of one day.
who's that considering to add it to their fence?
Don't know. I'd not bother. Don't add bamboo.
You need a lot of pandas to eat that.
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah, I'm
you'd
not.
go. Oh dear.
Although
Let's have a chat.
it does that
Sorry.
weird thing, doesn't it, bamboo though, where a lot of bamboos flower simultaneously across the entire globe, and then they all die at the same time.
Oh,
Some of them are
no.
like monocarpic. So whatever country they're in on the planet, they flower all at the same time, and then they all die at the same time,
Wow. I
which
didn't
is
know that.
yeah, which is a bit bizarre. So yeah,
Um, let's have a chat about Chelsea, shall we?
go on then, far
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So well, I mean.
Tell us, what have you done?
Well, done. I think it's six or seven gardens at the Chelsea Flower Show. So
Wow.
we did the first one in 2006, and that was just from meeting a new lady who moved in next door, but one to us, who I got talking to one day. A lovely lady called Alex Trotman, and she's funny enough. She was a garden designer, so got talking to her. And she'd done a garden at the Chelsea Flower Show previously herself, and she'd won a silver medal. And at that point, John and I, we didn't realise that ordinary folk could kind of apply for Chelsea. We thought it was like universities or I don't know, kind of big companies or things like that. But she said, no, anybody can apply. So we started applying for Chelsea. Um, and we got knocked back quite a few times. We kept sending designs. In fact, we tried for about 2 or 3 years to try and get in. And we just kept getting letters back from the RHS saying your design has reached the necessary standard, but due to lack of space, we can't give you a garden for next year. And so I think we finally one year sent off a design, which I think was in 2005. And the letter came back again saying, thanks for the design. It's reached the necessary standard, but due to lack of space, blah, blah, blah. And we kind of thought it's not meant to be. So, and they did say if anybody drops out, then we'll offer you a space. And so this was the last sort of application we sent off in 2005. And it sort of, Christmas came and went, January came and went, February came and went. We didn't hear anything, so we just thought, oh, it's not meant to be. It's not going to happen. And then John and I were on holiday in India because we're self-employed. We work our socks off all the year through. We tend to have a really nice holiday abroad somewhere in January or February because it's hot and sunny.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you don't go to Cromer for a fortnight, do you? To be honest, in end of February. Well, you might, but not, you're not going to get suntan. You might turn blue, but you're not going to turn brown. That's for sure.
No.
So so we were on holiday in India, and my phone rang, and it was a London number. I answered the phone. I said hello, and it was Anita Foy at the time, who was the show manager for Chelsea. And she said, "How you doing?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." I said, "How are you?" She said, "Well, yeah, I'm good." She said, "I need to let you know." She said, "Somebody's dropped out of the Chelsea Flower Show, and we'd like to offer you a space." I was like, "Oh my god!" So, and I said to her, "I said, well, we're in India. We're on holiday in India, and this was March. And remember,
Oh,
the
what?
show's in May.
May.
Yeah. So first thing I said was, "Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it." So I said, "That's brilliant. Put us down." And then she said to me, "Have you got the money? Have you got any money?" I said, "No." So she said, "Well." So she said, "Well, you need you need some money for it." I said, "Don't worry about that. Leave it with me. Give me 20 minutes, half hour. I'll kind of ring you back." So what we did was we've got a mutual friend called Helen who actually got us together years ago. And long story short, she'd kind of just been through a divorce, and it ended up kind of quite nice for her, and she had a bit of a chunk of money in the bank. So basically, we rang our friend Helen, and I said, "Helen, you're not going to believe this." I said, "After all this time, we've just been offered a garden at the Chelsea Flower Show." And the next thing she said is, "How much do you want?" She knew what I was going to say. So she didn't give it to us; it was a loan. But anyway, I said to her, "Well, we need X amount," and she said, "I need it back." She said, "I don't need it back straight away," but she said, "One way or t'other, I will need it back." So I said, "Well, you know me and John, we will get it back to you eventually." So I didn't know how I was going to get it back to her, but I just said we would. And then she said, "Give me the details." She contacted the RHS. She emailed Anita Foy. She said, I will be like a guarantor or a sponsor for Adam and John. I'll provide the funds they need." So I rung Anita Foy back. She said, "I've got an email from your sponsor. I'm happy with that." Yeah, and then she said, "That's it. Well, you've got a space. This will be your first garden at the Chelsea Flower Show." But kind of the terrifying thing was we still had another week to go in India. So we kind of, I was like, "Well, I just want to go home now. I don't want to stay in India for another
Planning
week."
to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to get through. But we got back home. We had a brilliant, or have got a brilliant friend called Cormac Conway from a company called Conway Landscapes. So we teamed up with him. Yeah, and we just went for it. We just went like maniacs. I mean, we got everything, all the plants sorted out. We got all the hard landscaping stuff sorted out. We got everything kind of rounded up. a lot of people donated things to us as well, because we said to them, it's the first time at Chelsea, we've only got X amount of money, it's not necessarily all we need, but it will help. And various people said, well, if you, when you hand out your literature at Chelsea, if you put our details on there, our website, blah blah blah, we'll donate that to you for your Chelsea garden.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so it all came together. We got the garden built, and it was our first garden ever at the Chelsea Flower Show, and we won gold. We won gold for our very first garden. And not only that, we also won the BBC RHS People's Award for the best small gardening show. So
Wow.
that was kind of year one. And then the hypocritical thing was, the reason we struggled to get in up to that point was because they kept giving gardens to all the same people year after year,
Yeah.
which is why we couldn't get in. And then of course we became the hypocrites, because it was like,
You were
well,
there every
this is a lot. This is a lot of fun. Let's do it in 2007. So yeah. So we kind of. But by this time, we actually got a sponsor. So we put a design in for 2007 called the Old Gate, and uh, yeah. So and Chelsea and the RHS said, yeah, great, you can build that garden. So we built that one in 2008, and that one we got again, we got a gold. We got the BBC RHS People's Award for Best Small Gardening Show, and also we won an award for the best garden in our section as well. So we won, all the accolades you could possibly win just for 1 year, and then we went back again the year after that. I did another garden called Memories by the Sea, and we won a gold medal for that one. And so that was that kind of, we did a 3-year run, and then we went back. We did some gardens at Hampton Court, sort of other sort of different places as well. And then we won another gold, I think it was in 2017 at Chelsea, for the World Horse Welfare charity. And we've done sort of other gardens there as well. We've done gardens for, what else have we done gardens for? I've gone out of my head now. Oh, NSPCC. We did gardens, 2 gardens for NSPCC. Guide dogs, we did a garden for as well, which was good. So some of those we won silvers for, some we won sort of silver gilt for. But yeah, it's extraordinary. It's a most amazing, mind blowing, incredible, humbling, awesome, incredible experience doing a garden at the Chelsea Flower Show. I remember my mum and dad taking me to the Chelsea Flower Show when I was about 14, 15, and I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be creating a garden there myself. Not alone winning, a gold medal,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
4 gold medals and stuff. So, and yeah, it's incredible, and it's you meet incredible people, you see incredible things. Yeah, it's a privilege. It's probably, for me, it's my most, and John, my other half, my hubby, it's probably my most fantastic achievement in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just, and even and all these and it does open doors, because if you say to people, you won gold medals at the Chelsea Flower Show, then yeah, obviously people, they want to talk to you, they want to get
Yeah.
involved with you. And but yeah, it's good. It's been awesome. It's been remarkable. It's been fabulous.
Mm.
So yeah, absolutely love it. And I'd possibly do another one again one day. John's like, no, done that, because it does take over your life. I mean,
Yeah, I bet.
it's all consuming for doing it. And if you're trying to run your own little small garden maintenance business at the same time
Yeah.
and do that, it's difficult. But
Yeah.
I think I would do it again one day. But if I did, probably more from not actually physically getting involved too much with it, but more kind of a supervisory, advisory kind of
Yeah.
role doing it, rather than having the worry of getting it all kind of
All
organised.
on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I probably, if somebody kind of said, well, we've got a team who can do the landscaping, we've got a team who can do the planting. If you guys can perhaps oversee it, kind of get your eyes on it, see what's working. I think I'd do it from that perspective, but I don't think I'd do it again from the perspective of
Or like,
doing the whole thing from zero to kind of
yeah,
completing it and taking it down. But we'll see. We'll see. Somebody might come along one day, a really nice sponsor, and kind of say, "Oh, you know, love what you guys do. Would you do a garden for us?" And
yeah.
chances are, we'll, might probably the passion and the excitement and the buzz and the
Yeah,
joy of creating the garden at Chelsea might sort of overwhelm us again, and
I'm sure it will.
we'll say yes. See what happens.
Mark, I didn't catch those questions that come past, and I
Yeah,
don't
I'll
want to
just
touch
get
on
it
my
now.
comments.
So somebody's asked, what's your opinion on charities spending that amount of money to create a garden?
Now I'm really, really glad you asked that, and I'll tell you for why. Because I can't divulge the amounts, but guide dogs. We did a garden for guide dogs, and they spent a very well. It was sort of a five figure sum to build a garden at the Chelsea Flower Show. Now, a lot of people would say, "Hold on a minute, like, I'm dropping money in these collection boxes, blah blah blah," and charities are creating these gardens at the Chelsea Flower Show. Well, the guide dogs were at the Chelsea Flower Show. There was an incident one morning where Carol, the weather lady,
Yeah.
had one of the guide dogs, and she was doing the weather forecast, and the guide dog pulled her over, and she went flat on her face while doing the weather forecast. Well, that kind of almost kind of went a bit viral doing that. But also at the time, there was a judge who was watching coverage in the morning on the Chelsea Flower Show, and he saw that and it made him laugh. And one of the jobs that this judge actually has to do professionally is when assets are seized from criminal activity, be it drugs, property rackets, all this kind of stuff. When that money is seized by the state from these people, this judge, one of these duties he has to allocate that money to charities.
Oh, wow.
So he saw what happened with Carol on the weather, and then he decided to donate £250,000 to guide dogs
Wow.
from the money that had been seized. So, and that I can tell you, way paid for more than what they paid us to create that
Yeah.
garden.
Yeah.
So they covered what they'd spent and tons more as well. And also, when you do the Chelsea Flower Show, the amount of coverage that a
Oh,
sponsor could get is colossal. I
yeah.
mean, I think after the first or second garden John and I did, we even got sent magazines from Russia, like Russian garden magazines, and the garden we created was in these gardening magazines in Russia.
Wow.
And I remember at the time
Hello?
we had a customer who was Russian. She was married to an Englishman, but she was Russian herself. So it was all in Russian, so we couldn't read it, and we actually sort of took it to her and said, "Can you translate it for us?" So I think one garden we did for a charity at Chelsea worked out that to get that amount of exposure, if they had to pay for it themselves, would have cost them £1.4 million.
Yeah.
But they got that exposure through social media, through newspapers, through magazines,
Yeah.
through foreign broadcasting companies. So although it seems like they're spending a lot of money, charities, the return they get on it massively outweighs what they spend. So
Yeah.
it really is a brilliant way for charities to make a huge amount of money. So if you're ever kind of watching Chelsea and you donate to one of those charities and you're thinking to yourself, God, they're spending 60,000, 70,000, 100,000 or whatever on a garden. What a waste. I tell you, it's not a waste because what in fact we did another garden for now who's this for? I think it was NSPCC, and what they have is during the evening after the public go home, they have a couple of evenings where they entertain people.
Yeah.
Normally it's a Tuesday night and a Thursday night, and they have specific people they invite in, and these people are incredibly wealthy people. I mean, crazy, crazy wealthy people, and they come in and they're wined and dined. You know, and we talk to them, chat to them, and there was a funny enough, it was another couple of guys, uh, and this guy was in his early 30s, I think, no, mid 30s, heading towards 40. He'd worked on the stock exchange in London, and he'd made some mind-blowing amount of money. Apparently, he was worth 500 million. This
Wow.
guy, and he signed up with the NSPCC and said that he would give 10% of his estate to the NSPCC when he dies. So that was just that one, just from creating that garden at Chelsea
Yeah.
for the NSPCC, that one man actually signed over that legacy.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
agreed to,
Yeah.
I mean, he could change his mind. I mean, it's not set in stone,
Right.
but he saw the garden. He loved what the NSPCC did. I think he'd had a difficult childhood himself.
Yeah.
He was moved by the garden, and that was and we had loads of people like that. So yeah, charities, creating gardens at Chelsea, it's a brilliant thing to do. So if anybody's cynical about it and thinking all my hard-earned money that I've donated has just gone on to creating a garden,
Yeah.
and it's just about creating a garden for 1 week at Chelsea for TV.
No.
Honestly, it's not. It can make a massive, massive difference.
And now
I
the
suppose
gardens go elsewhere as well, don't
that's
they? So
exactly
Oh
not
yeah,
only that.
yeah,
what I was going to say. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of the garden. Well, that in fact that is one of the things that the RHS are very keen on these days, because they're very keen that the gardens get recreated, and also waste wise. I mean, years ago at Chelsea, loads of a lot of gardens there, skips would come in
Oh.
and literally just the whole thing would just go in a skip. It was heartbreaking, but that's all
Oh.
gone. Those days are long gone. um, it- Loads of stuff now is recycled. In fact, what the RHS do at Chelsea is, at the end of the build up, just before the show opens, they have a huge area set aside at the back of Chelsea that nobody sees. It's opposite where the Chelsea barracks used to be, and anything left over you can take and you put in this area. It could be pond liners, it could be flower pots, it could be plants, it could be stones, it could be gravel,
Yeah.
anything. You take it there, and then they have a designated list of charities and schools and stuff, and they come in and they just take all that stuff away for free. So it
Brilliant.
all gets used, all gets recycled, and then at the end of the show, they do the same thing again. So any plants you don't want, anything in your garden you don't want to take away but somebody can use, you put it up on trolleys, you take it to this area, and all these people come and they use it. It gets another life. So and that's something the RHS are really, really hot on now, to make sure that there's no wastage. Stuff doesn't get thrown away and dumped.
That's really good.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, which is good, and they're on to the carbon footprint thing, and also they have a list of a lot of plants now that you can't use. Obviously, you can't use ash, Fraxinus excelsior, because of obviously dieback.
Yeah.
Oak trees you can't use because of processionary moth. So yeah, it's a really, really well thought through thing these days,
Yeah.
and it's not just like, oh, all this tons of stuff gets used for a week, gets thrown in a skip, and that's
Yeah.
it. That it gets reused, recycled, rebuilt, repurposed,
Yeah.
and it gives a lot more people. In fact, even one in the garden we did, the Memories by the Sea one, which we did for a charity called Good Gifts, that got rebuilt for an inner city project for kids that are, kind of living in really deprived areas. And we went to see it, and it was brilliant, and the kids loved it. I mean, and it was the that was rebuilt there, and it was a place where they put up polytunnels for kids to grow their own fruit and vegetables and flowers and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of really fabulous things that do happen even after the show is finished.
always wondered about the moving of the gardens because I know, like you just said, they have to go somewhere now. They can't just be put in the skip anymore. But so, who foots the bill for that? Is it part of your remit, or is
Um,
it where it's going? Do they
no,
pay for it?
quite often the charities will do that. They'll kind of incorporate that into the cost. In fact, a lot of charities will already have they'll already know where they want the garden to go afterwards. So that's all factored in
Yeah,
to the cost of the garden.
right.
So I mean, we've had that a couple of times with the World Horse Welfare Garden. They wanted that garden or a lot of it rebuilt. So at the end of the show, a great big lorry turned up. We palletized everything, sort of shrunk wrap it, and then that all went back onto the lorries, and that got taken down to a new site where they wanted it rebuilt. And quite often they'll use their own staff, or they'll use volunteers or local gardening companies
Yeah,
who will kind of rebuild it. And that's good for them as well, because sometimes they'll do it for free because it's good PR.
yeah,
So yeah, if you're I mean, obviously we don't rebuild them because sometimes they were miles away from where we lived. But if you're a landscaping company down there and you say, yeah, I'll do that for you, and then it goes in the local paper, I don't know, JR Landscapes rebuilds Chelsea, Chelsea Horse Garden for
yeah.
charity.
Yeah.
That's
Good
that's
PR for
that's
them.
good PR for you,
Brilliant.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and that kind of goodwill gets sort of fed all the way through.
yeah,
They really
yeah.
should do a
Brilliant.
TV show of the after Chelsea. Like
Yeah,
it's so bizarre how much footage there is, of, like the build up, and then that's
be,
it.
uh, I think before and after, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've done lots of talks over the years, and we call it our adventures at the Chelsea Flower Show, and it's always about the build up, and obviously what we actually do when we're there, or the gardens, and then what happens afterwards, and people love it. I mean, they absolutely adore it because they don't get to hear about all the stuff that goes on during the build up and what you have to go through and everything. And I really agree with you, Mark. I think that's something that people would find really fascinating, kind of behind the scenes of what goes on to create a Chelsea flower show garden. It's because people just don't realise what's involved. It's phenomenal.
To do it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I know we've said a few times since Chelsea this year that we just don't know why is it, and we know the whole Chelsea thing, but why is it there? It must be the biggest place in the world, which is not to be turned into an actual, gardens.
yeah. I
What?
mean,
Why there?
yeah,
There's so many more places that it could be, it could be done so much easier and better
yeah.
without
I mean,
bringing
I,
all the concrete in and the tarmac and
yeah, it is a nightmare logistically because obviously where
yeah,
it is bang in the middle of London, yeah, logistically it's not the best place it could be. Oh, it's a noisy motorbike in the background. That's where Hampton Court's really good because Hampton Court is vast,
Yeah.
yeah,
and you've got so much more space. But I think the thing with Chelsea. It is the Chelsea Flower Show, but it's become a lot more, and some people might dislike that, some people might like it, but it's also become a very business kind of orientated thing as well. It's that they actually say that the Chelsea Flower Show, especially on the gala night, which is the Monday, they say like hundreds of millions of pounds worth of business deals get done because the sort of people that go there on that evening are literally the people in the upper echelons that you and I, we'll never get to kind of
yeah,
be or see, and whether that's good or bad. But so there are kind of different sort of factions to it, which I think is why they keep it sort of in that part of the world, and it is, I think, the highest money making show for the RHS as well,
yeah,
which is a
definitely,
charity, and they do fantastic, sort of fabulous work. So yeah.
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 But I love it, and I shall keep going back.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, went this year. Wasn't expecting to go. Well, I got invited because I do work for U Garden,
yeah,
and they get their roses are supplied by Harkness Roses. Uh, the we got an invite. Loads of us got an invite by Harkness to go to see them in the evening, which
oh,
was nice.
lovely.
But then actually ended up going there the whole day because our friend Cormac that we mentioned, Cormac and his wife Diane. they rung up the day before and said, "Oh, we've got some spare tickets. Do you enjoy want to meet us at Chelsea?" So I was actually there from 10 in the morning to 10 at night.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a long day.
I bet.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was nice come the evening when everybody had gone.
Yeah.
That was nice. And then they
Oh, I
sort
bet
of
it's lovely.
wined and dined us and gave us nice wine and canapes. And but yeah, it's a very, very amazing, incredible, life-changing experience, Chelsea. It's
Yeah.
I'll never forget it as long as I live. It's just probably professionally for me, my sort of best, well, me and John's best sort of achievement, really, kind of winning those awards at
Definitely.
Chelsea.
It's a massive achievement. It's absolutely amazing. To do it once, let alone 3 or 4 times.
Well, yeah, I mean, although some some companies have like won 20, 30 gold medals over the. I mean, Harkness, I think, have won 22 or 23 gold medals, but then they're a big organisation. They're
Yeah.
massive, and they've got oodles of money to throw at it. So
Exactly.
so they can do that. Not everybody can year in year out.
It's just part of
Yeah.
their budget for every year, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like
yes,
that's the
Yes,
Chelsea
yeah,
money.
definitely.
yeah. It's all factored in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they get money, so much money
Oh,
back
of
from
course
doing it. It's
they do.
ridiculous. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Absolutely.
Massive
Yeah,
advertisement, like we
definitely.
said a little while ago. Yeah. Well, it's gone 9 o'clock, Adam. Um,
Yeah, and my battery's running low, so I might lose you in a minute anyway. So,
well, let's quickly do. Mark's got a lightning round of questions for you,
go on
so
then, fire
let's
away.
see if we can get them out.
Nice. Easy one to start off with. Your favourite band or artist?
Okay, well, it's going to be an '80s band actually, because Human League. That's even
Oh,
today.
awesome.
Nice.
Human League are my favourite group ever.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Still a classic. Next one. In the summer, are you a cuppa in the morning sun? Hang on, or a glass of wine watching the sun go down?
Oh, glass of wine watching the sun go down. I've got a glass of wine here, but I thought not to try it actually because I did
Nice.
Do
in case I
it.
give myself
Drink it. Drink it.
in case I give myself a bad reputation.
Do it.
No, say it's elderflower cordial.
Oh, well, funny enough, we just finished that because John made
Oh,
some.
lovely.
So
Oh, wow. Brilliant.
we've just used it up.
Great stuff. Next one, flowers or edibles?
I've got to be honest, flowers for me.
Flowers.
But you can do both
Oh yeah, edible flowers.
sometimes.
Next one, beach or forest?
Oh, forest.
Forest. I thought
Definitely
it'd be that
forest.
after
Yeah.
Yeah.
competition. Next one is, what's your go-to emoji in a text message?
I think probably smiley face generally. Smiley face or
Yeah,
laughy face.
standard, isn't
Yeah.
it? If you could only have one snack for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Wow, one snack for the rest of my life. What would it be? Oh goodness me. Let's think about this. What do I like as a snack? I think probably beans on toast.
Oh, classic. Can't beat
Beans on toast with it. Beans on toast with a little bit of a Worcestershire sauce sprinkled over the
Oh,
top.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Finish the sentence. My perfect day would be.
My perfect day would be walking through a tropical rainforest.
Be amazing.
Oh,
I've never been to one, but not a big one. I'd love to go to one day.
Where you
yeah.
have machete with you. What is today's favourite plant?
My favourite. Fun enough, it's just gone over today for the first time ever. I've never grown them before. I had a bulb flower today called a tigridia,
Ooh,
which is a really, really weird, unusual flower. So, and also right next to me, I'll stick them in front of the camera. Bear with. What I've actually got some white flowering oleanders, and I'm really loving these at the moment as well.
yeah,
Lovely.
they're lovely.
And I've
I've
got
seen
some
the
pots
pink
of freesias
one.
flowering. So it's impossible, isn't it, to choose your favourite flower?
Yeah, well, that's why
Yeah.
it's today's. It's got to be,
Only for
there's got to
today,
be
yeah.
another one
Well,
tomorrow.
yeah. Today then would be my white oleander. There you go. My final decision.
Next one is favourite season.
Oh, definitely spring.
Spring,
Spring.
when it's all
Love
coming back
spring.
to life.
Yeah.
If you could make one thing disappear from your garden or the gardening world, what would it be?
Meadow grass.
That's your nasty weed, is it? And then the next one is favourite weed.
Oh, favourite weed. Oh, I've got lots of. I grow weeds in my garden.
Oh,
Favourite weed,
yeah.
I would say is definitely. I think ragged robin.
Ragged
I,
robin. Oh, it's a
I
beautiful
love
plant, isn't
ragged
it?
robin. So
Absolutely.
beautiful.
The only
Yeah.
problem with it is it looks like willow herb when it's first coming up, and you end up leaving willow herb.
Oh, and also because we've got lots in our front garden, and it originates from Norfolk. Viper's bugloss. That's
I love that as well.
that's another mind-blowingly beautiful wildflower.
Blue flowers are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Next one, garden visit or plant shopping trip.
Oh, plant shopping. I think. Yeah. Especially if it's a nursery with quite unusual things. I like unusual plants.
I'm getting
I
the
like
impression
things.
you're more tropical.
Yeah,
Dry,
I
big
like things.
leaves.
That's it. Yeah, I like things that are a bit of a challenge. Yeah, I like things. People say you won't be able to grow that. I'm like, yeah, I will. I'll give it a go.
Next one is favourite gardening scent.
Oh, favourite. I would say freesias. I adore freesias. Freesias and the star jasmine, Tracheospermum jasminoides.
That's just coming into flower now, and it's
Yeah,
heavenly. I love it.
yeah.
Final one. What would you want your gardening legacy to be?
My gardening legacy would be that I've left a space that brought joy. It sounds a bit cheesy, but I left a space that brought joy to people, but also created a beautiful habitat for wildlife as well.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me.
You've definitely
Brilliant.
that's for sure.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh,
It's been
thank
really,
you.
really good.
It's been a real pleasure. Honestly, thanks, guys. I've really, really enjoyed speaking to you both. It's been a real joy, a real
I'm sure
pleasure.
we
So,
could have kept going for hours and hours,
yeah,
but we
yeah.
got cut off at some
Thanks for
point.
thanks for inviting me on. And yeah, if you want me back anytime, I'd be more than happy. So
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, we'll
Fantastic.
meet in real life as well at some point.
Yeah.
yeah, be good. Yeah, love to.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
garden show or another.
Pub lunch somewhere. Be good.
Sounds
Yes. Sounds right to me.
good.
I'm running down the road.
Jamie's there.
I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Oh, brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Adam.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
You
Adam.
take care. Cheers,
Cheers.
guys.
Take
Bye.
care. See you
Bye.
later.
Bye.
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 Brilliant.
Fantastic.
I just
Lovely man.
love what we do. Like, neither of us have really known much about Adam. We were approached by his PR person, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be really good to get Adam on the podcast. Just a second, just rescuing a snake from the dog.
Not another one.
No, I'm not. I'm chasing him and he's running off.
Okay, Joe.
Oh, Joe's coming as well. Okay. This sounded like a day trip to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Fantastic.
how amazing! Just, you know, somebody we've never really spoken much to, but then, you know, we've just spoke for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like we've known each other for life.
Exactly.
Just
Okay.
gardening
Brilliant.
is such an amazing thing. So many different people with common interests.
Yeah, exactly. It brings everyone together, doesn't it?
But yeah, what a wealth of experience Adam's got.
Oh,
To have done that many Chelseas and you know, still speak positively about it as well.
yeah.
Most people that do a show garden, they never want to see the show garden ever again. But yeah,
Swaffham is only 40 minutes away. Swatham's about 7 minutes away from me.
it's like the next village, isn't it?
It's the next. Well, it's a town. Yeah, it's the next town down to A47. I go there all the time. That's where Teresa goes. That's where the horse place is, where she goes all the time.
I got the snake back. You'll never find it in there.
You see him attack you in a minute.
5 fly off. Yeah. Blooming dog. They really work, those snakes.
Do they?
Yeah, nothing has been eaten by birds since those snakes have gone up.
Oh,
My
brilliant.
cabbages have been left alone. My fruit's been left alone.
Oh, I'm going to order some then.
Who else? Oh, Debbie's just ordered some who I work with, and she says they're brilliant. They work
Oh,
for her.
wow.
So
Oh.
that's me and Georgina and Debbie that have all tried it. And I told Angie she needs to do it as well, because she was moaning about the birds eating her fruit the other day. So
Touch wood. My raspberries all starting to come through and they're not being touched. So,
yeah, now, aren't they?
yeah, starting this last couple of days. Lovely.
And the
Tastes
other
delicious.
win for the week is my carrots. Your plank trick works an absolute treat.
You did it.
I've last night I was going crazy just putting carrot seeds everywhere, because usually I do one lot and it doesn't work and I don't bother. So I've actually tried it.
As whereas I forgot my parsnips, and then when I did finally take the plank off, they were about that long and all just white and laid over. I left them.
Not like the bamboo then, it wasn't pushing up the board to get out.
No, but they had all germinated. There's a whole row germinated, and I just left the plank on there a day or two too long.
Oh.
Start again.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because even the ones that start come through are white, so then you take the board off, and even some of the ones that haven't started poking through come through even once the plank's off.
Yeah,
it's that first lot get going.
It's just keeping that moisture in there. That's what it is.
But yeah, what a trick! That'll
be
standard from now on.
A good one.
See, even somebody that's not a gardener's taught a gardener a new trick.
Someone who's not a gardener. Am I not a gardener?
Well, not a professional gardener.
Thank you.
Definitely a gardener.
I think we could fall out,
I was just thinking, so I'm 40 this year, you're 50, and Adam's 60.
60, yeah.
We need to find
40, 50, 60.
Find somebody that's 20 and somebody that's 70.
Someone on here is 70. We'll have to ask her to join. Not saying a word.
Who's on here that's 70? Look who's in the live.
I'm waiting for the comments to pop up.
I'm not even going to take a stab at it. I don't want to insult anyone.
Oh dear, why do you think I didn't name anybody?
You'll be in a lot of trouble.
Oh well. Has it stopped chickens?
What, the
Snakes?
The snakes? Probably not. Chickens don't give a damn, do they? Okay. I'll say Joe's 50 as well, lot this year. Another centennial. Is it centennial?
Next year.
Next year.
No.
Next week, sorry.
That's half centennial.
What? What's 10?
100.
What's 10 then? There's a word for tens. I don't know. It's too late.
Right, I'm going.
I'm too late at night.
And I still haven't had no dinner.
I need to pick some salad for my lunch tomorrow before I go back down. So.
Oh, wow.
I've got lots of different salad leaves on the go now.
I've got loads of salad I've got to start getting through.
Oh, look at my Melba spinach.
Malabar?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I say Melba. It's Melba melon. I've got a Melba melon, that's why. Malabar spinach. Need to get that in the ground.
Deca.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, Joe's always on it. A decadarian.
Decadarian. 10 years old. Right, I'm going to have some tea.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week.
Thanks,
next
Adam.
Week we're talking
really, really good. Love that.
Izzy. Who we both met at Gardeners World Live for the first time.
We did. Fantastic bloke. It's going to be really fun next week.
Lots of laughs next week, I think.
Yeah, really, really good.
See you all next week. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
See you, Mark. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.